today, Chuck Brady, Ken Davis, Stephen Ross, and Nicholas Slope from De La Salle High School will meet in a battle of quick recall. Scott Grogan, Blake Page, Kate Hughes, and Richard Blackwell from Ben Franklin Senior High. The alternate from De La Salle is Stephen Varner, and the coach, Barbara Thornhill. And the alternate from Ben Franklin is Mike Nelson, and the coach, Pierre Blaine. And now, here's our moderator, Mel Levitt.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Welcome once again to Varsity Quiz Bowl. Ben Franklin versus De La Salle today. And before we begin, let me introduce our judge, Dr. Ann Akers. Our scorer is Phyllis Hartley, who is Associate Director of Records at the University of New Orleans. And our recognizer will be Cliff Beal, a student in communications at Loyola University. Let's have a round of applause for these folks. Okay, this ought to be a contest. Franklin's won the championship, I think, 3 times. De La Salle last year lost by only 5 points in the final. One of the most exciting games we've ever had. A good match. We'll begin with an audio face-off. We're leading up to a lagniappe of 20 points, teams. Before I ask a question, I'd like you to listen to this music. This may test your, not only your knowledge of music, but also if you've been watching WYS. All right, the question is this. The National Geographic's first documentary devoted to the arts looked at 9 people officially recognized by the Japanese government as living treasures of Japan. Among them was Yuteman Nakamura. He's a cross-dress actor who plays in theater in which this type of music's featured. For 10 points. What is the name used for the music, the kind of theater, and the actors, all of which are...
De La Salle, Davis.
Kabuki.
Kabuki's correct. De La Salle is on the board. K-A-B-U-K-I, Kabuki. Your lagniappe is 20 points, gentlemen. These 2 men were recently elected by the Veterans Committee to Baseball's Hall of Fame. One, called the Big Cat, compiled a lifetime batting average of .312 and 17 years in the majors, mainly in the National with the St. Louis Cardinals and New York Giants, later with the New York Yankees. The other man, a pioneer of the Negro Leagues, is given credit for refining Negro baseball and paving the way for Jackie Robinson to break the Major League color barrier in 1947 with the Dodgers. For 10 points each, name these 2 men. The 2 recent inductees selected by the Veterans Committee for the Hall of Fame.
Catfish Hunter and Loman?
No, I'm afraid not. The first gentleman I described was Johnny Mize, the Big Cat, from Waycross, Georgia. And the other was Andrew Rube Foster, an almost legendary character in the Negro Leagues. We'll move on to another face-off. We're going for a lagniappe at 20. Now, this is one of the B vitamins. It's needed for the absorption and metabolism of proteins. It's found as the simple pyridine and also in the form of the aldehyde or amine.
De La Salle, Brady.
Thymine?
No, I'm afraid not. I'll repeat now, no consultation. And frankly, you must ring. It is one of the B vitamins is needed for the absorption and metabolism of proteins. It's found as a simple pyridine and is also in the form of the aldehyde or amine. For 10 points, identify this B vitamin whose number is also a perfect number. Anybody want to take a shot?
Franklin, Page.
Niacin?
No, it's a B6, or pyridoxine. We have another face-off. An ambitious document drafted by 8 neutral European nations received a cautious welcome from the United States and the Soviet Union at the stalled Conference on Détente and Human Rights. It was fraught with compromise. For 10 points, where is this conference taking place?
Franklin, Grogan.
Helsinki?
No, I'm afraid not. De La Salle, can you take it?
De La Salle, Sloop.
Madrid?
Madrid's right. 10 points. Here's a 20-point lagniappe, De La Salle. Many famous symphonies have been given names. Many famous symphonies. For 5 points apiece, tell me the composer of each of the following symphonies. Number 1 is the Symphony of 1,000. Who's the composer? Symphony of 1,000.
Strauss.
No, it was Gustav Mahler. The Pathétique.
Tchaikovsky.
Pathétique.
Tchaikovsky.
Correct. The New World Symphony.
Dvorak. Dvorak.
Correct again. And finally, Symphonie Fantastique.
Brahms.
Was Berlioz.
Brahms.
You had 2 of the 4, and that's 10 points for De La Salle. Coming up is a lanyap at 25 points. Now, for a quick 10, this face-off. What country has the highest tax level in the world?
De La Salle sloop.
England?
No, I'm afraid that's incorrect. Ben Franklin, can you take
Franklin Blackwell.
Israel.
it? No, it's Sweden. It's Sweden. We have another face-off. This individual brought down and jailed in the Watergate scandal is turning TV documentary producer. He's using 20,000 feet of silent film that he took relating to Richard Nixon's presidential visits to Europe, plus much footage on the Dwight Eisenhower, Charles de Gaulle, J. Edgar Hoover funerals. For 10 points, name this Watergate figure who will narrate these 6 one-hour or 13 half-hour segments.
De La Salle Ross.
Dean?
No, Ben Franklin.
Franklin Page.
Ehrlichman.
No, all around it was Haldeman, H.R. Haldeman. Close on both counts. But Haldeman's the man with the documentary aspirations. We have another face-off. We're going for lanyap at 25. On Sunday, March 22nd, RCA unveiled a new kind of record player, one that will show movie.
De La Salle Brady.
The video disc.
That's right, it is, a video disc player. So it's a Select-O-Vision video disc player, and that's the key word, disc, of course, because it's like a record. All right, we have a lanyap at 25 points. The Third German Reich of 1939 and 1945 had many different hierarchical positions. You can earn 5 points apiece for each Nazi official you can identify from his position that I'm going to give you, okay? Number 1, Minister of Foreign Affairs. Who was he?
Goebbels.
No, this was von Ribbentrop. Minister Propaganda.
Goebbels.
That is Goebbels. The Reich Minister. Ask for an answer. Albert Speer. Number 4 is head of the Gestapo.
Himmler.
Correct. Finally, Reich Protector. His name was Reinhard Heydrich. I believe you had 2. Is that correct, James? 2 for 10 points, De La Salle. We have another face-off. We're going for a lanyap at 20 points now. In 1588, special medals were struck in England to commemorate a noteworthy victory. The inscription
De La Salle sloop.
The defeat of the Spanish Armada.
That's right. I didn't even have a chance to give you. Seriously, I didn't have a chance to give you the inscription, which was, God blew and they were scattered. In English translation. I won't attempt the Latin. You have a 20-point lanyap. It's in 4 parts for 5 apiece. Name the man associated with the following scientific landmarks. Number 1, discovery of the true nature of combustion. Who was he?
Lavoisier.
That's right. For 5 more, postulation of the quantum theory.
Planck.
Correct. Discovery of the 3 fundamental laws of planetary motion.
Kepler.
Correct. Finally, for a total of 20 if you answer. Formulation of the concept of the planetary atom.
Bohr.
You got them all. 20 points. Niels Bohr. All right, folks, the buzzer is sounded, which means we're about to enter into a round of rapid fire. In rapid fire, of course, we have a 2-minute countdown round. Only 1 answer per question. I ask the questions as quickly as they're answered. Now, this is the key. He said that all the world's a play, and this rapid fire is in his honor. You can't imagine who it's going to be, can you? All the answers will be from the writings of William Shakespeare. Ready? Go. Number 1, a Jew who demanded a pound of flesh.
Franklin Grogan.
Was Shylock. Number 2, he is Polonius's son.
De La Salle Ross.
Laertes.
That's right. Before going into the forest of Arden, she dresses as a boy.
De La Salle Ross.
Rosalind.
That's right. The musical The Boys from Syracuse was based on this play. What play? The Comedy of Errors. How many King Henry plays are there? That is written by Shakespeare, of
De La
course.
Salle Brady.
5.
No, 6. She is the sister of Goneril and Regan.
De La Salle Brady.
Cordelia.
Correct. He is the king of the fairies in A Midsummer Night's Dream.
De La
His name
Salle
is-
Brady.
Oberon.
That's correct. What is the name of Othello's conniving lieutenant?
Franklin Grogan.
Iago.
Correct. Who speaks the famous Queen Mab speech in Romeo and Juliet?
Franklin Page.
Mercutio.
No, it's Mercurio. Mercurio. He called for a horse, my kingdom for a horse.
Franklin Grogan.
Richard III.
Correct. What was Richard III's title before he became king?
De La Salle Brady.
Duke of Gloucester.
That's correct. In Romeo and Juliet, which of the 2 lovers dies first?
De La Salle Ross.
Romeo.
That's right. In Twelfth Night, another woman disguises herself as a man. Who is she? Name is?
De La Salle Ross.
Viola.
That's right. What is the name of the king whose ghost appears to Macbeth? Name is?
Franklin Twos.
Macbeth.
It's Banquo. In which play occurs the strange stage direction, Exit, pursued by bear? It was Winter's Tale. I come to bury Caesar, not to praise him, is spoken by whom?
De La Salle Ross.
Mark Antony.
That's correct. The barge she sat in like a burnished throne burned on the water. Who was in the...
Franklin Grogan.
Cleopatra.
That's correct. Who's the magical sprite in The Tempest? Name
De La
was.
Salle Davis.
Ariel.
That's right. Who's the boisterous, drunken, roguish knight, much beloved by Prince Hal?
Franklin Grogan.
Falstaff.
Correct. In Julius Caesar, it is said that he has a lean and hungry look. He thinks too much. Such men
Franklin
are
Grogan.
dangerous.
Cassius.
Cassius is correct. Cole Porter's musical Kiss Me Kate is based on what play?
De La Salle Ross.
Taming of the Shrew.
Taming of the Shrew, right on the buzzer. It counts. That's the end of the first half. In some cases, I'm sure some folks found out they knew less about Shakespeare than they thought, and in other cases, perhaps more. One way or another, we'll be back in just a few moments to talk to the participants in this game about some of their hobbies and pastimes, so stay tuned.
When I was a child, Passover was a special time when my family gathered together to recall the shared history of the Jewish people. Today, Passover has the same importance to me as it does to Jewish families everywhere. This year at Passover, I'd like to share with you the dramatic story of this Jewish holiday.
Let all who are hungry
See it Monday night at 7 on Channel 12.
share the hope of Passover.
We're back again, of course, and we'll continue playing in a few moments. Right now, let's talk to the individuals who are participating today about their, hobbies and extracurricular activities, pastimes. We'll start with Clark Brady now here for De La Salle. Clark,
Well,
what you like to do?
At school, I'm co-editor of the literary magazine. I work on the newspaper, a member of the National Honor Society, and I just came back from going to the state rally in English 4. And in my spare time, I like...
In your spare time?
Yeah, in what little I have anymore. I'm interested in astronomy and mythology and the occult.
Yeah, that's quite a range of interest, Clark. Kid, how about you, Captain?
Well, at school, I'm co-editor of the literary magazine with Clark, and I'm also co-editor of the newspaper with Nicholas down there. And I'm in the National Honor Society, and in my spare time, I enjoy photography and reading.
You sound like a very cooperative guy, huh? The guy you have to work with to put out literature at De La Salle. That's great, Captain. How about you, Steve?
Well, I'm on the newspaper. I like to play guitar.
Yeah.
I was in the musical during third quarter, and I'm in St. Rita's CYO in Harahan. And I'm secretary of the National Honor Society, which in March sponsored a junior varsity quiz bowl for 8th and 9th graders from different high schools throughout the area.
Oh, that's terrific. That's terrific. This thing really has spread out, and mainly through the impetus of youngsters like yourselves and at other schools. I won't name them, there's so many, but one way or another, we appreciate it. Nicholas?
I'm on staff for the literary magazine, and I'm interested in music, both listening, playing, and composing, and model shipbuilding and model railroading.
Well, that's great. As usual, an extremely bright and diversified group of young men from De La Salle. And I expect we're going to find out the same thing about Ben Franklin Senior High. Scott, what are your interests?
Oh, well, at school, I'm co-editor of the newspaper. At home, I like to write music and plays, and I also enjoy cooking and eating. Writing plays and eating.
And collecting political buttons.
And collecting political buttons.
Sock it to him, Spiro. I won't comment on that further. Blake,
Okay.
the captain. How about you, Blake?
At school, I'm co-editor of the yearbook, and I'm vice president of my senior class.
Yeah.
And at home, I like to listen to music. I play the guitar a little bit.
Yeah.
And I like to play basketball.
Well, that's a good variety of interest. Kate, what about you?
At school, I'm co-editor of the literary newspaper. I am the vice president of the National Honor Society. I work. At home, I like to go to movies, and I like to write and paint, and I collect small children's shoes.
You may lift up the pair of Snoopies. There you are, folks. Anybody interested, huh? You get a good bargain here today. I love those. What are those? That's kind of the, those are like your mascot? Only.
Yeah, well, they're really mine, but I bring them.
She won't let
You share them with the team. Richard, how about you?
The only real interest I have outside of school is computers. I'm a computer freak, and other than that, and driving cars very fast. Little else.
And he's going to vote for Nixon in 72. Ben Franklin. That's beautiful. All right. Let us hasten back here to the podium and get underway with the second half of play. We're going to start with a visual face-off. Teams leading up now to a lanyard of 25 points. So if you'll direct your attention to the monitors here to my right and left. The artist who painted the picture shown on these monitors seems to have been endowed with a combination of all the qualities of the Florentine school, of which he was the last great master. The languorous grace of his models with their mysterious and dreamy expressions, the delicacy of his colors, the rhythmic harmony of his composition are essential characteristics of his art. For 10 points, name this great 15th century artist. His fresco, Giovanna Tornabuoni, Venus and the Graces, shown on the monitors, is similar to his more famous Birth of Venus.
Franklin Grogan.
Botticelli.
You've got it. Botticelli for 10 points. We have a lanyard of 25 points, Ben Franklin. It is a narrow artificial waterway in Egypt that extends about 100 miles between two seas. It was opened in 1869. For 5 points apiece, name this waterway. Tell me the names of the two seas that it joins, and then tell me the names of the towns at either end of it. The waterway, the two seas that it connects, and the two towns at the
Suez Canal connects the Mediterranean and the Red Seas.
All right, you picked up 15.
Port Said's at one end.
That's 20, and the other end is
Cairo.
No, the town of Suez, but you got 4 of the 5. That's 20 points for Ben Franklin. Franklin comes out roaring here in the second half. We got a face-off going for a lanyard at 20 for a quick 10. Who has the most career hits in baseball?
Franklin Page.
Ty Cobb.
Right. 10 points. Cyrus Raymond Cobb, the Georgia Peach. Lanyard at 20 points for 5 apiece. Identify the following professors. First, the professor portrayed by Robert Preston on Broadway and in the movie version of The Music Man. Professor what? We'll ask for an answer, please. It is Professor Harold Hill. Now, number 2. The professor made famous by Rex Harrison in the musical and in the movie My Fair Lady.
Professor Higgins.
Correct. Professor Henry Higgins. The professor who stalked Dracula in the novel by Bram Stoker. Remember him?
Van Helsing.
That's right. And finally, the title of a novel by contemporary author Philip Roth. Professor in the title.
Professor of Desire.
Can you give me the title? Philip Roth novel.
Professor of Desire.
That's right. 3 of the 4. 15 points. Game has tightened up considerable. We have another face-off. We're going for a lanyard of 30 points. In Babylonia, court musicians played ornate instruments. One, a harp-like instrument probably made at Ur in the 2600s BC, was covered with gold and shell. For 10 points, what kind of instrument was it? And be specific. What did they call this instrument?
Ben Franklin Blackwell. A lyre?
You're right. A lyre. You have 10 points. Here's a chance at 30 more in lanyard. Igor Stravinsky collaborated with Sergei Diaghilev in producing 3 ballets in Paris, one of which caused the audience to riot at the end of the performance. For 10 points apiece, can you name the 3 Parisian ballets?
I delegate to Scott.
Okay.
All right, Scott.
Okay. The Firebird.
That's 1.
Petrushka.
That's 2.
And The Rite of Spring.
And that's 3. 30. Well, after being down by over 100 points, Ben Franklin now trails by only 25. It's 170-145. Okay, teams. Another face-off. We're going for a lanyard at 25. For 10 points, he was the Spanish churchman, Grand Inquisitor, and confessor to Ferdinand and Isabella.
De La Salle Ross.
Torquemada.
Torquemada is correct. Tomas de Torquemada. You picked up 10, and here's a 25-point lanyard. De La Salle. American Telephone and Telegraph Company has more common stockholders by far than any other corporation in the world. You can earn 5 points apiece, up to a total of 25, for each of the next 5 corporations in terms of number of common stockholders.
Xerox.
Now, these are American corporations.
How many? 5.
Of course, multinational.
How many do you want?
We need 5. The next 5 after the one I mentioned, ATT.
IBM, General Motors, Exxon, Xerox, and IT&T.
You hit 3. IBM is correct. Exxon is correct. Actually, in order, it's General Motors is second, Exxon, IBM, you had those, General Electric, and GTE. You've got 15 points. De La Salle. Okay, we have another face-off. We're going for Lagniappe at 20. He is the brilliant lyricist of Evita and Jesus Christ Superstar. Can you name him for 10 points?
De La Salle, Sloop, Rice.
Right. Tim Rice. That's the man. Picked up 10, a Lagniappe at 20. This stamp, identified in catalogs ASC3A, if you're a stamp collector, is considered the most valuable of all U.S. stamps. It resulted from an error in printing. Has an airplane flying upside down. I think most of us have seen prints. For 5 points apiece. Now tell me, why is this airmail stamp special, other than the printing error? How much did it cost originally, and what are the 2 main colors on the stamp? The rarest of the rare. I should say the most valuable of the valuable in the U.S.
Okay, it's special because only the airplane is inverted, not the rest of the logo and all. Just the airplane is inverted in the center.
No, actually it was the first airmail stamp. It was the basic reason for its speciality.
Colors are purple and red.
All right, what about the...
8 cents was the price.
The price actually was 24 cents. And we had red is correct. The other color is blue, red or carmine, but we'll accept red. We picked up 5 points. De La Salle. Another face-off. We're going for Lagniappe at 25. For 10 points, this is a name given to a system of social organization in tribal societies. In it, natural objects such as plants and animals are looked upon as personal or group symbols, protective deities, or spiritual kin. What's the overall embracing name for this system?
De La Salle, Brady.
Totemism?
Right, it is. Totemism. All right, De La Salle, you got 10, and here's a chance at 25 more. The Pulitzer Prize for Fiction is awarded annually, of course. I'll name the novel and the year, and you provide the prize-winning writer for 5 points apiece. Number 1, To Kill a Mockingbird, 1961. Who was the author? Correct. The Reivers, 1963. The author was?
Mishner?
No, this was Faulkner. The Keepers of the House, 1965, was Shirley Ann Grau. The Fixer, 1967. Remember The Fixer? Bernard Malamud. The Optimist's Daughter, 1973. Optimist's Daughter. Remember that? It was Eudora Welty. You picked up 5 more points, De La Salle. Here's another face-off. We're going for a Lagniappe at 30 points. For a quick 10, where is the oldest university in the world that is still functioning as a university located? The oldest still
De La Salle, Sloop,
functioning.
Oxford.
No. Ben Franklin, anyone?
Franklin Page.
Cambridge.
No, you might be surprised. It's Cairo, Egypt. I know I was surprised. El Ashar in Cairo. Another face-off. We're going for a Lagniappe at 30 points. For a quick 10, Jane Byrne is mayor of what large American...
Franklin, twos.
Chicago's correct for 10 points. All right, Ben Franklin. Here's a Lagniappe at 30. You can earn 30 points if you can identify this well-known person after 1 clue. 20 points if you need 2. 10 points if it takes 3. First clue for 30. He was born in 1880 in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, where his father was the head of the tribe that ruled the area around Riyadh. When he was 10 years old, tribes from the north attacked, and a family fled to the desert area known as the Empty Quarter. Clue 1. Can you identify him from that first clue?
King Ibn Saud.
You've got it. 30 points. More. Now trailing by 40, here's a face-off going for a Lagniappe at 20 for 10 points. What sort of star was a supernova immediately before becoming a super?
De La Salle, Sloop. Neutron star.
No, I'm afraid that's incorrect. Ben Franklin, can you take it? I'll repeat. For 10 points, what sort of star was a supernova immediately before becoming a supernova? Anyone?
Franklin Blackwell.
A white dwarf?
No, we would accept a binary or double star or red giant. We'll take another face-off. This is a quickie. For 10 points, who cut the Gordian knot?
De La Salle, Brady.
Alexander the Great.
Correct, for 10 points. You have a Lagniappe at 20 coming up for 5 points each. Name the 4 South American countries whose coastlines touch the Pacific Ocean. There are only 4.
Venezuela.
Remember, we said countries.
Chile.
Not sections.
Peru, Ecuador, Colombia.
That's it. You've got all four. Chile, Peru, Ecuador, Colombia, 20 points for De La Salle. Another face-off. We're leading up to a 30-point lanyap this time. According to several Greek historians, this great playwright was killed when an eagle dropped a tortoise on his head from a great height. His most famous work is a tragedy trilogy, the Oresteia, followed by Prometheus Bound.
De La Salle, Ross.
Aeschylus.
I'll accept that. Aeschylus is sometimes a pronunciation given, but... Let me say this, in your rendering of the name, you came out with every single letter, so it was. He was the first of the great Greeks, truly. A lanyap of 30 points for 5 points apiece. Name the 6 chemical elements whose symbols start with the letter B.
Beryllium.
There are 6.
Beryllium.
Beryllium. Bromine.
Boron. And there is the buzzer. Now, at that point, the game officially ends according to the rules. You picked up 3, I believe. Boron, bromine, beryllium. Is that what you said right before the buzzer? That's 15 more points, and with the buzzer, of course, we have to conclude play. We're going to validate our final score in the game between these two fine teams. We'll be back in just a moment to declare a winner right after this.
Nova, the sea behind the dunes. A coastal lagoon sheltered from the ocean, it serves as incubator, way station, and nursery for a diversity of life. Join us on the eastern coast of Cape Cod, Massachusetts for The Sea Behind the Dunes, next time on Nova.
See it Tuesday evening at 7 on Channel 12.
And now it's official, ladies and gentlemen. The final score has been validated by the judge and the scorer. De La Salle 280, Ben Franklin 185. De La Salle is the winner. Congratulations. Trying to think, Ben Franklin. Y'all are going to move on, incidentally, into the quarterfinals against the winner of the Bonneville and Morgan City game. Ben Franklin, who's coming back? Is there anybody coming back for next year? Are you all ready?
No.
You mean you're just going to leave us?
Yeah. Happy trail. It's been
Okay,
fun.
let's have a round of applause for 4 terrific players, outstanding students. Ben Franklin. It's really been a pleasure having you with us on this program, and we hope you'll remember it fondly like we did. Although you'll probably wonder why the score wasn't a little different. I hope so. One way or another, we hope to see you again next week, same time. Or I should say tomorrow, because Bonneville meets Morgan City then. It's round 4, Varsity Quiz Bowl. Goodbye, everybody.
The questions on Varsity Quiz Bowl are prepared and authenticated by the WIS editorial research staff and known only in advance to the quizmaster, producer, judge, and researcher. All 64 schools participating in our year-long tournament are matched by blind draw. Selections of team members and methods of preparation are the sole responsibility of the schools and their coaches. The preceding program was made possible by a grant from Pan American Life Insurance Company.